Chosen ones, you're about to shock a lot of people with what you survived. What's been buried in silence is about to erupt and send seismic shockwaves through every person who thought they had you figured out. Prepare for jaws to hit the floor and worldviews to crumble when you finally break your silence. Some won't be able to handle it, but their comfort was never your responsibility. You didn't just survive difficult circumstances, you survived the absolutely impossible. You didn't just overcome challenges, you defeated forces that exist outside the boundaries of accepted reality. The experiences you lived through would have most people committed for psychological evaluation, yet you navigated each supernatural assault, endured every reality-bending encounter, and somehow emerged not just intact, but more powerful than ever before. The cosmic alarm is ringing, and it's ringing for you. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The universe has been preparing for this moment since before your first breath, and the stars themselves have aligned to create this divine appointment where truth finally gets its microphone. The synchronicities leading to this moment have been building like a crescendo in a cosmic symphony. Every person who entered your life, every book that found its way to you, every conversation that seemed random, all were orchestrated to prepare you for this exact moment of revelation. The universe has been conducting a masterpiece of timing that spans decades, and you are the soloist about to take center stage. Your survival carries signatures that forensic experts can't explain. Medical professionals look at your recovery and find gaps in textbooks. Psychologists study your resilience and discover holes in established theories. You are living proof that the official narrative about human limitations is incomplete, that the accepted understanding of what people can survive is tragically underestimated. The scars on your body tell stories that medical journals would reject as fiction. The neural pathways in your brain have been rewired in ways that neuroscientists insist are impossible. The emotional resilience you display contradicts everything trauma specialists believe about human psychology. You are a walking anomaly that challenges the fundamental assumptions of multiple scientific disciplines. You didn't just survive one impossible situation, you survived a cascade of impossibilities, each one building on the last, each one preparing you for greater tests, each one proving that the boundaries of human endurance extend far beyond what anyone has ever documented. Your life reads like a masterclass in supernatural survival techniques that most people couldn't comprehend even if explained in detail. The energy signature you carry now is so different from ordinary human frequency that sensitive people can feel your presence before you enter a room. Animals respond to you differently. Technology behaves strangely around you. Weather patterns seem to shift when you're emotionally activated. You've become something more than human through the crucible of impossible experiences. You weren't meant to be just another swimmer. You were born to walk on water. And that water walking, it's about to begin with the first step you take toward that microphone. Because what you're carrying isn't just your story. It's the key that unlocks prison doors for thousands of people who are still trapped where you once were. You've been carrying something heavy, something that would break the backs of lesser souls, and yet here you stand, unbroken. Bent maybe, scarred absolutely, but unbroken. The weight you carry isn't just emotional baggage from difficult experiences. It's evidence of encounters that exist outside the boundaries of normal human experience. You've witnessed things that happen in the spaces between heartbeats, in the silence between words, in the darkness between thoughts. You've survived situations where survival itself becomes a miracle that scientists can't replicate in laboratory conditions. What makes your story dangerous, truly dangerous, is that it exposes the structures built on lies, the reputations forged in deception, the comfortable slumber of a world that would rather hit snooze than face the alarm of truth. Your silence has been protecting more than just your own peace of mind. It's been protecting illusions, false senses of security, belief systems that the world operates according to rules everyone understands. When you speak, you won't just be sharing your experience, you'll be announcing that reality is far stranger, far more malleable, and far more dangerous than anyone ever imagined. The symptoms of what you survived don't appear in medical textbooks, because medical textbooks are written by people who've never encountered the forces you've faced. Your recovery process doesn't follow standard therapeutic models, because standard therapy wasn't designed for people who've survived impossible circumstances through supernatural means. Some of what you've experienced defies natural explanation. Supernatural interventions, miraculous escapes, divine coincidences that statistical probability cannot explain. You've questioned your own sanity at times, wondering if perhaps everyone else was right about you. But deep down, beneath the doubts that were planted like poison seeds, you know what happened. You know what you saw. You know what you experienced. The words are already written in your soul. Each nightmare that woke you gasping for breath was actually a download of information your conscious mind couldn't process during waking hours. Every panic attack that seemed to come from nowhere was your nervous system recalibrating to handle frequencies most humans never encounter. Every moment of dissociation wasn't a breakdown, it was a breakthrough into expanded awareness that your persecutors feared you might achieve. Your body has become a living archive of impossible experiences. The cellular memory stored in your tissues contains information that could revolutionize our understanding of human potential. The DNA modifications that occurred during your survival have created genetic expressions that scientists haven't catalogued yet. Your very existence is a biological impossibility that walks around in plain sight. The physical symptoms you experienced during your ordeal weren't just trauma responses. Your system was literally evolving in real time to handle supernatural stresses. The hypervigilance that everyone called anxiety was actually your consciousness expanding to perceive threats that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The sleep disturbances weren't PTSD. Your brain was rewiring itself to remain conscious during attacks that happen in dream states. You've developed abilities that have no names in modern psychology. You can sense deception at frequencies that polygraphs can't detect. You can recognize predators through subtle energy signatures that behavioral experts miss completely. You can navigate danger using intuitive guidance systems that operate faster than rational thought. These aren't skills, these are evolutionary adaptations forced by circumstances that shouldn't exist but do. The spiritual gifts that emerge from your trauma are so advanced that ancient wisdom traditions would recognize you as having achieved states of consciousness that typically require decades of dedicated practice. You've been fast-tracked through initiations that shamans and mystics spend lifetimes trying to attain. Your suffering has been transformed into supernatural sensitivities that operate like spiritual radar systems. Your ability to read energy fields around people has become so precise that you can detect illness, deception, and hidden agendas within moments of encountering someone. The pain receptors in your nervous system have been rewired to pick up on emotional frequencies that most people can't consciously perceive. You've become a living lie detector that operates through mechanisms science hasn't discovered yet. You were made the villain of a story you didn't write, the convenient scapegoat, the receptacle for all projections and failures and shortcomings, easy to dismiss, easy to discredit, easy to destroy, or so everyone thought. What was never understood is that you can't destroy what the cosmos protects. You can't silence what the universe has ordained to speak. You can't bury what is destined to rise. The character assassination wasn't random. It wasn't personal vendetta. It was strategic elimination of a threat that was recognized before you recognized it yourself. You possessed something that couldn't be allowed loose in the world. Authentic power backed by authentic experience. Your very existence contradicts carefully constructed versions of reality, where certain things simply don't happen to good people, where certain experiences aren't possible, where certain recoveries can't occur. You needed to be discredited because your credibility would expose incompetence. You needed to be silenced because your voice would reveal lies. You needed to be broken because your wholeness would illuminate brokenness. You weren't just inconvenient, you were impossible according to limited understanding of how the world works. The narrative created about you is about to shatter like glass against concrete. The carefully constructed image that was projected will dissolve like morning fog under the burning sun of your truth. This isn't revenge, it's restoration. This isn't an attack, it's alignment. Your survival story doesn't just challenge versions of events, It demolishes entire frameworks for understanding human resilience. You recovered from things that should have left permanent damage. You bounced back from situations that should have required lifetime therapy. You regained functionality after experiences that should have ended in institutional care. Your very existence is a walking contradiction to professional limitations. When you finally speak, something magical will happen. Those who have ears to hear will suddenly see the missing pieces click into place. The fog will lift from eyes and people will really see, for the first time. The gaslighting that was used to make you question your own perception has actually sharpened your perception to supernatural levels. The isolation that was used to break your spirit has actually connected you to cosmic forces beyond ordinary perception. The attempts to drive you insane have actually driven you sane in ways that transcend ordinary human consciousness. What your tormentors never understood is that consciousness under extreme pressure doesn't break, it crystallizes. Like carbon subjected to impossible force and heat, your awareness has been compressed into diamond-hard clarity that cuts through illusions instantly. The very techniques used to destroy your mind have actually purified it beyond recognition. Your memory has been enhanced to forensic levels of detail. You can recall conversations word for word from events that happened under extreme duress. You remember micro-expressions, voice tones, and environmental details that most people would never notice, let alone retain. Your brain has become a recording device that captures evidence with supernatural precision. The trauma that was supposed to fragment your identity has actually integrated all aspects of yourself into a unified force of unprecedented power. Where others would have developed multiple personalities to cope, you develop multiple perspectives that all serve your expanded consciousness. You didn't fracture, you became multidimensional. The hypervigilance that medical professionals label as a disorder has actually become your superpower. Your nervous system now operates like an early warning radar that detects threats across multiple dimensions of reality. You can sense danger approaching before it manifests in the physical realm. Your body has become a biological security system that protects not just you, but everyone in your proximity. Some who hear this message escaped something so dark, so controlling, so suffocating that you had to disappear like a ghost in the night. No goodbyes, no forwarding address, no explanations, just gone. That wasn't cowardice. That was cosmic intelligence working through your intuition. That was the hand of protection guiding you out of destruction's path. The escape you made wasn't just leaving a bad situation, it was extracting yourself from a carefully engineered trap designed to harvest your life force for purposes you couldn't fully comprehend at the time. You weren't just walking away from toxic people, you were fleeing from energy vampires who had identified you as a renewable resource, a battery that could be drained indefinitely while being convinced it was normal. You slipped away when no one was watching. You changed your name, your number, your address, your entire life, not because you were running from something, but because you were running to something greater, something purer, something destined. The sophistication of what you escaped would astound specialists in psychological warfare. The level of manipulation you recognized and rejected would impress experts in mind control. The subtle programming you resisted would fascinate researchers who study cult dynamics. But you didn't need degrees or credentials to recognize what was happening. You had something far more valuable: activated intuition. Your escape route was downloaded directly into your consciousness by forces that operate beyond the perception of your captors. The timing was orchestrated by intelligence networks that span dimensions. The resources you needed appeared precisely when you needed them through channels that conventional logic can't explain. The moment you decided to leave, you activated protocols that had been dormant in your spiritual DNA since birth. Ancient guidance systems came online. Protective mechanisms that had been lying in wait suddenly engaged. You didn't just escape, you executed a cosmic extraction mission that had been planned before you ever encountered danger. The path you took to freedom defied probability in ways that statisticians would call impossible. Every wrong turn led to exactly the right place. Every delay protected you from dangers you never saw. Every seeming mistake positioned you for miraculous interventions. Your escape wasn't just successful, It was a masterpiece of divine choreography. Your disappearance from the toxic situation created a vacuum that exposed the entire artificial ecosystem. Without your energy to feed on, the predators turned on each other. The carefully balanced manipulation matrix collapsed. The lies that had been supported by your silence became unsustainable when you withdrew your participation. And now the very story of your escape will become someone else's roadmap to freedom. The very tactics you used will become someone else's strategy for survival. The very courage you found in your darkest hour will become someone else's light in midnight moments. The people still trapped in similar situations are waiting for your testimony, though most don't realize it yet. Your story contains the exact combination of inspiration and practical intelligence that dormant survivors need to activate their own escape protocols. Your voice will become the frequency that awakens sleeping warriors who have been waiting for permission to fight back. Your escape wasn't just for you. It was for the ones still trapped where you once were, believing the lies you once believed, enduring what you barely survived. Everyone needs to know it's possible. Everyone needs to know there's another side. Everyone needs to know someone made it out alive, and not just alive but thriving. The universe has been keeping score this entire time. Every tear you shed in secret, every prayer you whispered in darkness, every moment you chose to keep going when giving up seemed more rational. None of it was wasted. All of it was investment, accumulating compound interest in accounts you'll soon be able to access. The scales of the universe have been unbalanced for too long. The cosmic ledger shows debts unpaid. The universal law of cause and effect has been patient, perhaps too patient for your liking, but never absent, never inactive, never unaware. The waiting period is ending. The grace period that was enjoyed while you remained silent is expiring. The protection that was received from your discretion is being withdrawn. The universe operates on principles of balance that make human courts look like kindergarten playground disputes. Now comes the balancing. Now comes the reckoning. Now comes the moment when the same universal forces that seem to conspire against you suddenly align behind you, beside you, before you, creating a pathway of power that will leave witnesses in awe. The reckoning isn't just about settling old scores. It's about correcting cosmic imbalances that affect far more than your personal situation. When certain types of injustice reach critical mass, the universe itself intervenes to restore equilibrium. Your case has reached that threshold. The cosmic court has accepted your appeal. The universal jury has reached its verdict. This isn't just your moment of vindication. This is cosmic justice wearing your face, speaking through your voice, shining through your eyes. This is bigger than personal revenge. This is universal restoration flowing through a human vessel, you. Now the following is a message meant exclusively for the chosen. If you are compromised by archonic forces, this is not meant for you. And by the spiritual authority conferred to us by the secret chiefs of the obsidian inner order, we grant you license to depart. If not, steel yourself and listen intently, for you shall be redeemed even as we are redeemed. The obsidian inner order is not a program. It's not a course. It's not some feel-good spiritual retreat. We don't sell answers. We remember together. We teach psychic self-defense, real energetic shielding against entities, implants and interference. We restore manifestation as it was meant to be, raw, immediate and exact. Every week we gather in secret, not to worship but to awaken, to speak what can't be said anywhere else, to deprogram the matrix layer by layer. You'll know if you're meant to be there. You'll feel it in your bones. The chosen meet every week on Zoom. Why aren't you with us yet? Got Gnosis? Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in the description. When you speak, your words won't just carry information. The energy you'll release when you speak your truth has been building pressure in the silence like steam in a sealed container. Each day you remained quiet added to the force. Each moment you held back increased the power. Each time you chose discretion over disclosure was actually charging the cosmic battery that's about to discharge through your voice. Your detractors sensed this power in you long before you fully recognized it in yourself. That's why you were such a threat. Your very existence was a challenge to fabricated reality. As you step into this new chapter, everything changes. The air feels different when you breathe it. Colors appear more vivid, sounds register with greater clarity. It's as if you've been living in a dimmed, muffled version of reality, and suddenly someone turned up the cosmic brightness and volume. This is what freedom feels like. This is what alignment creates. This is what happens when you finally step fully into the space the universe has been holding open for you since the day of your birth. In this new reality, doors don't just open. Correspondence flies off hinges at your approach. Resources don't just appear. Abundance hunts you down like you're wearing a cosmic beacon. People don't just help. Souls show up as if assigned to your mission, equipped with exactly what you need at precisely the right moment. Watch what happens when spiritual alignment manifests in the material world. Observe the avalanche of abundance that follows the clearing of your energetic pathways. Witness how quickly the physical realm reorganizes itself around your newly claimed truth. Financial streams that were dammed suddenly flow again. Opportunities that seemed perpetually out of reach suddenly manifest within your grasp. Relationships that nurture rather than drain, that elevate rather than diminish, that celebrate rather than tolerate. These become your new normal. Your new home, yes, the one you'll acquire through means that will seem miraculous to outside observers, will be more than physical shelter. It will be a sanctuary, a base of operations, a haven from which you'll launch missions of truth that will change lives, transform communities, and yes, even alter the trajectory of collective consciousness. The foundation of this new existence isn't built on shifting sand, but on the bedrock of truth. Your truth, spoken without apology, lived without compromise, shared without fear. Not everyone will celebrate your emergence. Not everyone will applaud your voice. Not everyone will welcome your truth. This isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. Some will be uncomfortable because your freedom highlights imprisonment. Your courage illuminates cowardice. Your clarity exposes confusion. Your abundance reveals a scarcity mindset. Your healing triggers unaddressed wounds. Others will be downright hostile because your very existence threatens the systems that have been built, the lies that have been told, the image that has been projected. You're the living contradiction to carefully constructed narratives. You're the exception that disproves rules. You're the miracle that challenges limited paradigms. Watch the squirming. Notice how history gets rewritten in real time. Observe desperate attempts to discredit what cannot be discredited, to deny what cannot be denied, to erase what has been permanently written in the cosmic record. Discomfort is not your concern. Hostility is not your problem. The ability or inability to integrate your truth into worldviews is not your responsibility. Your only obligation is to the truth. Your only commitment is to the light. Your only loyalty is to the mission encoded in your spiritual DNA, before your physical form ever took shape in this dimension. When you speak your truth with the full force of your being, when you tell your story with the complete authority of your experience, when you share your journey with the total authenticity of your soul, holding nothing back from fear, diluting nothing from concern for comfort, filtering nothing from desire for approval, the universe itself will stand and applaud. When you finally take that microphone, whether literal or metaphorical, something will shift in your voice. Those who've known you might not even recognize the sound at first. Is that really them? People will wonder. Have you always sounded like that? Everyone is hearing the voice of your authentic self for the first time. The voice that wasn't filtered through fear, wasn't distorted by doubt, wasn't diminished by the desire to please. This is your voice at its most powerful, most resonant, most true. The vocal cords that were constricted by trauma have been healed by truth. The throat chakra that was blocked by suppressed expression has been cleared by cosmic intervention. The breath that was shallow from hypervigilance has been deepened by divine restoration. When you speak now, you're not just using your human voice, you're channeling frequencies from dimensions where truth is the only language spoken. Speak with the authority that's been conferred upon you, not by human institutions but by cosmic appointment. Address the world not as someone seeking approval, but as someone delivering revelation. Stand not as a supplicant begging to be heard, but as an oracle who speaks whether others are ready to listen or not. The transformation in your voice will be so dramatic that audio recordings from before and after your awakening will sound like two different people. The frequency you'll carry will be so pure that it will trigger healing responses in people who simply hear you speak. Your words will not just convey information, your voice will transmit activation codes that unlock dormant potentials in anyone ready to receive. When you speak, someone in another country will hear your story third hand and find the courage to leave abuse. A teenager will stumble across your testimony online and decide not to end everything. A person of influence will be moved by your journey and change a policy that affects thousands. A future leader will cite your example as the catalyst that set them on a path of transformation. Your truth-telling will create permission fields that allow others to access courage nobody knew was possible. Your testimony will establish new templates of possibility that expand what others believe can be survived and overcome. Your survival story will become a frequency that broadcasts continuously through the collective consciousness, reaching people in their darkest moments with evidence that escape is possible. You won't know most of these effects. You won't be able to measure most of these impacts. You won't receive earthly credit for most of these transformations, but the cosmos keeps perfect records. The universal ledger misses nothing. The spiritual economy wastes nothing. Tell everyone what was done, not out of vengeance but out of clarity. Tell everyone what was said, not to shame but to shine light. Tell everyone what happened, not to relive trauma but to release the truth. Then tell everyone what happened next, how the darkness gave way to dawn, how the wounds became wisdom, how the breaking led to breakthrough, how the very things meant to destroy you became the foundation for a destiny nobody could imagine and nobody could prevent. The contrast between what was predicted for you and what you've become is perhaps your most powerful testimony. The contrast between what was done to you and what you've done with it is your most persuasive argument. The contrast between who everyone said you were and who you've proven yourself to be is your most undeniable evidence. Everyone said you were worthless. Look at the value you've created. Everyone said you were crazy. Look at the clarity you've achieved. Everyone said you were finished. Look at the new beginning you've discovered. Everyone said you were cursed. Look at the blessings that flow through you. This contrast isn't just a compelling narrative, it's cosmic poetry. It's the universe demonstrating its fundamental nature through your human story. Light follows darkness, growth follows pruning, resurrection follows crucifixion. This is the pattern woven into the very fabric of existence, and your life has become a walking demonstration of this universal truth. What makes this especially powerful is that you didn't design this contrast. You didn't orchestrate these circumstances for dramatic effect. You simply lived authentically, persistently, faithfully, and the contrast created itself as naturally as shadows form when light shines. The timing of this revelation is not random, not accidental, not coincidental. The cosmic choreography is precise, purposeful, perfect. Why now? Why not earlier, when the wounds were fresh? Why not later, when even more evidence could accumulate? Because now is when the collective consciousness is ready to receive it. Now is when the maximum impact will occur. Now is when the ripple effects will create the most significant transformation. Certain planetary alignments only happen once in several hundred years. Certain astronomical events are visible only from specific locations at specific moments. Certain cosmic doorways open briefly and then close for ages. This moment, your moment, has similar cosmic significance. The message you carry couldn't have been delivered earlier. The frequency would have been incompatible with the collective receiver. It can't be delivered later. The urgency would be diminished and the potency diluted. It must be now. It must be you. It must be spoken. Everything you speak now becomes legacy. Every truth you reveal becomes inheritance. Every story you share becomes a sacred text for future generations who will study your journey, not merely as a historical account, but as spiritual instruction. The words you're about to release into the atmosphere won't evaporate like morning mist. Your testimony will become required reading in trauma recovery programs that don't exist yet, but will be created because your story reveals healing possibilities that current therapeutic models can't explain. Your survival strategies will be studied by researchers who are just beginning to understand that human resilience operates according to laws that transcend physical and psychological limitations. The neural pathways you forged while navigating impossible circumstances will inspire new approaches to brain training that help others develop superhuman resilience. The coping mechanisms you discovered while surviving supernatural attacks will become standard protocols for people who encounter similar forces. Long after physical structures have crumbled to dust, your words will continue to create. Long after your current body has returned to the elements, your truth will continue to transform. Long after your name has changed form in collective memory, your essence will continue to inspire. The frequencies you carry in your voice will be preserved in ways that transcend audio recording technology. The energy signatures you create when you speak your truth will become templates that others can access through meditation, prayer, and focused intention. Your vibrational blueprint will be archived in the cosmic library where future healers will study the exact frequencies needed to overcome specific types of trauma. This isn't pride. This isn't ego. This is simple cosmic fact. Truth endures, truth creates, truth transforms, and you, yes, you have been positioned as a vessel for truth that the world desperately needs, that souls are starving for, that the future is waiting to receive. The institutions that tried to silence you will eventually create memorials in your honor, not because of changed hearts, but because the evidence of your survival will become so overwhelming that denying your story would damage credibility beyond repair. The professionals who dismissed your experiences will eventually cite your case in research, not because of understanding, but because ignoring your outcome would make their work irrelevant. Not tomorrow when circumstances improve, not when you feel more ready, not when opposition decreases, not when support increases. Now. The cosmic window is open, the divine spotlight is focused, the universal stage is set, the eternal audience is seated, the spiritual microphone is on, and it's been placed directly in front of you. The timing isn't random, the opportunity isn't accidental, the convergence of circumstances that brings you to this moment has been orchestrated by forces that understand cosmic timing better than atomic clocks understand earthly time. Every delay you experienced was actually preparation. Every setback was actually set up. Every moment you felt ready but couldn't speak was actually the universe, fine-tuning the conditions for maximum impact. Remember what I told you at the beginning. What you've been through in silence is about to be revealed, and it's going to send shockwaves through everyone who thought they knew you. Well, here we are. The silence is about to break. The shockwaves are about to begin. Your story isn't just powerful, it's explosive, and that explosion is about to reshape the landscape of everyone's understanding. People thought your journey was understood, assumed your struggles were comprehended, believed your outcome could be predicted, but nobody had any idea what was really happening behind the scenes. The supernatural elements of your survival will challenge worldviews that have been carefully constructed to exclude such possibilities. The miraculous aspects of your recovery will force expansions of belief systems that have operated within artificially narrow parameters. The impossible nature of your transformation will crack open minds that have been sealed shut by scientific materialism and spiritual poverty. You were never meant to be just another swimmer struggling against the waves. You were born to walk on water, and that water walking doesn't start when you feel ready. It doesn't begin when conditions are perfect. It starts the moment you step out of the boat of silence and trust that the same forces that carried you through the impossible will carry you through this revelation. You're about to shock a lot of people with your story. You're about to change countless lives with your testimony. You're about to shift the very frequency of collective consciousness with your truth. And when you do, the universe itself will stand and applaud. The cosmos will vibrate in resonance with your words. The spiritual realm will celebrate the alignment of truth spoken through a vessel prepared precisely for this purpose, at this time, in this place, for this moment, your moment. The moment that changes everything forever. The moment that transforms you from someone who survived the impossible into someone who proves the impossible is just another word for the miraculous. The silence breaks now. the water walking begins, and the world will never be the same.